The morning began with that unmistakable stillness, the kind you only find in the Canadian countryside. A soft mist over the fields, the gentle hum of the wind through the trees, and the comforting sound of nature waking up. Here, life feels grounded, real. There's space to breathe, to think, to live away from the rush and noise of the cities. In big cities like Toronto, Vancouver, or Montreal, the world feels like it's spinning fast, full of lights, traffic, and people from every corner of the globe. Canada's cities have grown into beautiful hubs of multiculturalism, diverse, busy, and alive. But just a few hours away from that pace, the countryside tells a quieter story. Here, people live differently. They prefer open fields to tall towers, long roads over crowded sidewalks, and the calm of wide skies over the constant sound of engines and screens. Many of these countryside families came here generations ago. Immigrants once, yes, but settlers now. They built their lives, their homes, and their dreams on this very land. And over time, they didn't just live in Canada, they became Canada. They've worked the soil for decades, passing down their farms, traditions, and values from parents to children. Their accents may carry hints of their roots, but their hearts beat with the rhythm of this land. Today, they call themselves true Canadians, not because of how long they've been here, but because of how deeply they belong. The countryside is their canvas. Fields stretch wide, kissed by sunlight, dotted with barns and silos that have stood for generations. And at the heart of these landscapes are the farmers, the ones who make life here so authentic. They rise early, before dawn, while the rest of the world still sleeps. Their day begins with the smell of fresh soil and the sound of birds calling across the fields. Every day is a new beginning, a chance to nurture what they grow, to feed their communities, and to keep their traditions alive. Canadian farmers take immense pride in their work. They grow everything organically: fruits, vegetables, grains, all cultivated without chemicals, all harvested with care. They know that good food starts with good soil, and they treat their land like family. You'll often see them walking their fields, inspecting crops, feeling the texture of the leaves, making sure nature is doing its work, slowly, honestly, and purely. And from these farms come the stores, small, warm spaces scattered across the countryside. At first glance, they look simple: a single-floor building, a wooden sign, maybe a few pumpkins or baskets of apples outside. But step in, and it feels like walking into a story. The scent of freshly baked bread fills the air, shelves lined with homemade jams, bottles of golden honey, and jars of maple syrup, each one crafted by the hands that grew the ingredients. Crates of colorful vegetables, all picked that morning, sit beside baskets of apples, potatoes, and herbs still smelling of the earth. Every product has a name, a face, a story. This is food made by neighbors, not factories. It's grown, picked, baked, and bottled right here, often by the same families who run the store. The farmers keep their stores with pride. Every morning, they restock the shelves with fresh produce from their fields, wipe down counters, and greet familiar faces with a smile. They know their customers by name. They remember what they bought last week, and they're always ready to offer something new: a pie, a jam, a recipe. And what's truly special, they don't just sell organic food, they live it. Their own tables are filled with what they grow: fresh vegetables, homemade butter, baked bread, milk from their own cows. They live the way they farm, naturally, intentionally, and with respect for the earth. In these stores, you'll also find other essentials: handmade soaps, local crafts, candles, knitted scarves, and home decor. Every item reflects the countryside spirit: simple, pure, and full of heart. Behind the counters, you'll often find families working together: parents, children, even grandparents, sorting produce, labeling bottles, or wrapping loaves of bread. They laugh, they chat, they share stories of the harvest. And in every gesture, you can see pride. Because this isn't just a business, it's a legacy. These farmers are not just growing crops, they're preserving culture. They're keeping alive a way of living that values honesty, patience, and hard work. They've built their lives around the land, and in return, the land has given them everything: a home, a purpose, and an identity. And that identity, though rooted in their ancestors' stories, is proudly Canadian. They may have come here as immigrants once, but through years of hard work, they've woven themselves into the fabric of this country. They've seen winters that test strength, springs that renew hope, and harvests that reward patience. Now, they stand tall as part of what it truly means to be Canadian: resilient, humble, and deeply connected to nature. When the day ends, the sun sets slow across the fields, turning everything gold. You can see the farmers closing their shops, waving goodbye to neighbors, and heading home, boots vegetables from their own gardens, warm bread, maybe a bit of homemade jam or pie. But it will be real, honest, nourishing. Out here, life isn't about keeping up. It's about keeping close to the land, to family, to tradition. The cities may be louder, faster, and more crowded, but the countryside holds something rare, peace. A peace built on roots that run deep, and values that don't fade with time. And that's what makes the Canadian countryside so special. It's not a place you escape to, it's a place you belong to. Here, generations have turned soil into stories, and stories into culture. Here, people live not just as residents, but as caretakers of the land, of the community, and of a simpler, truer way of life. So, as the stars begin to appear above the open fields, the countryside rests quietly, proud, steady, and beautifully Canadian. Because even though everyone here once came from somewhere else, after all these years, this land, this sky, these fields have made them home. And that's what being Canadian truly means. Every visit to these farms feels like stepping into a different pace of life, one that hasn't forgotten its roots. Here, every handshake still means something. Every favor is remembered, and every harvest is shared. The people in these communities depend on one another in ways that city life often forgets. If a fence breaks, a neighbor comes with tools. If a barn roof leaks, another brings a ladder. If someone falls sick during planting season, the rest show up at sunrise to finish the work. It's not charity, it's connection, a quiet understanding that out here, everyone's effort keeps the whole community alive. Children grow up watching this, learning the value of work that's done by hand, of patience that can't be rushed, of promises kept even when no one is watching. They learn that life isn't measured in likes or numbers, but in seasons, in how well you tended your field, how kindly you treated your neighbor, how honestly you lived your day, and that honesty shows in everything they do. The vegetables aren't perfect in shape, but they're perfect in taste. The bread isn't machine cut, but it's warm and full of soul. Even the jars of honey carry traces of the wildflowers that bloom nearby, a sweetness that can't be replicated anywhere else. When you speak with these farmers, they don't boast about success, they speak about responsibility to their land, their animals, their families, and their customers. They talk about soil health, the way others talk about legacy, about weather patterns the way others talk about stock markets. Every choice when to plant, when to harvest, how to rotate crops is guided by respect, not profit. And in that respect lies something profoundly Canadian, a quiet pride in doing things right, even when no one is watching. Because for them, the countryside isn't a business. It's a way of being, humble, grounded, and deeply human. And maybe that's why visitors always leave these places feeling different.